Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. I have been looking forward to this recording for such a long time, Quincy. I'm so glad you're here.
Aw, thanks so much for having me. I'm so honored, Ashley.
If there is somebody that I feel like I have watched your business from like the very early beginning stages, and it's so cool because I've watched it like with admiration on my own, but now to see your business like through my kids' eyes and how cool they think you are, like that is also so fun. So I'm excited to bring all the behind the scenes to everybody today. So take me back to the beginning. I know like business for you started long ago when you realized you had a knack for this. How did this all start? How did the creative journey start?
Right. So, yes, I was always just that very creative kid, and I fell in love with that. That was my outlet. School wasn't necessarily my thing. I worked really hard at school, but where I really shine was in my creativity. And I'm so grateful because I had wonderful parents and siblings and family that encouraged it. And really, Ashley, I just started creating things because it was my passion. I didn't realize that it could turn into a business. And that just became one of the greatest blessings for me. So, as a kid, I started learning, that I could draw and started hand painting and hand drawing. I had participated in rodeo like you, and
Yep.
rodeo really got me my first start also because I was hand drawing and painting all of this unique tack that really set me apart from the crowd, which the listeners may not know what horse tack is with the equipment that you use on the horse. So I was
Mhm.
actually hand drawing big red roses and using Swarovski rhinestones. And then I would step into the arena and it wasn't the traditional cowboy attire. And so it
Yeah.
gained a lot of attention.
I remember, I think the first time I ever heard your name or like saw any of your creations was actually an article in the High School Rodeo magazine that came out. How long ago was that?
Oh
And maybe that
gosh. Just to
was it
put
about
into
business?
perspective, I think I was 18 years old, a senior in high school when I really got to making my horse tack,
Yeah.
and, I'm 34 now, so
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. Quite a journey.
yeah.
I still have some of that tack, by the way, that I've bought. Some of it, like if you could just come out with another tack line, I would appreciate it because we need some new stuff, but no pressure.
We
So,
actually did launch a few, tack sets just a few months ago, so
oh, okay.
yeah.
Well, coming back around. I like it. So, when you started to first dabble, right, with all these, doing your own tack, painting your own boots, all of those things, you have a pretty cool connection with Ariat. And that was kind of the first direction you went with your own line. Tell me about that collaboration, how that got started. And was that kind of the first time you were like, oh, there's a whole nother world out here that I didn't know existed?
That's exactly what it is, and this is why I encourage anyone, if you get an opportunity, even if you have no idea what you're doing, always say yes. And so I was just super fortunate. My uniqueness, my wild attire set me apart from the crowd. And I was approached by Ariat International, one of the leading makers in English and Western wear in the world. And they thought, wow, what a unique opportunity. We bring in one of our actual customers, let them create a line and market it as her face and market this uniqueness. And so, they asked me if I could design a line of boots, and being an 18-year-old kid at the time, I had no idea what I was doing. I was hand drawing and hand painting at the time on paper, and then, the area employees would take it and they would, uh, do the mock-up and the vector designs, and so I was just super fortunate to get that opportunity. I'm so glad that I had said yes to that, and then that is what sparked my passion. I didn't even realize there was a whole industry, behind it, and I was like, "Wow, it combines everything I love, designing, rodeo, Western lifestyle," and that's where really it lit that fire for me, and I was like, "Wow, this is what I wanna do. This is where I wanna be."
That's so cool. Did you have a mentor or somebody who helped you realize, like, oh, okay, now from the Ariat collaboration, we better create, a whole new line that's Rodeo Quincy. How did that first start?
So I was fortunate. I was going to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo at the time. I had 4 lines with Ariat. I was competing on the rodeo team at that time, and at that time, my 4th year in college, I got involved in entrepreneurship, and I actually had an amazing professor, and he knew what I was doing with Ariat and how I had this passion, but really at the time, I was thinking I would just go work for Ariat after college
Yeah.
after I graduated, and I learned about entrepreneurism, and, he encouraged me actually with a business pitch competition. He was like, "Go." It
Oh,
was like Shark Tank. Yeah,
cool.
and so he actually entered me in it, and then I was like, "Oh gosh, okay, now I need to prepare and, not let anybody down." So I actually pitched my own idea to start my own business, and it was called Rodeo Quincy, and I ended up winning it at Cal Poly at their competition, and I went on to compete at the national business pitch competition in Chicago, and actually won nationals pitching my idea. And then I got
Oh my
home and I
gosh.
was front page of the newspaper and everyone was, "Congratulations on your new business." And I thought, "Oh my gosh, I wasn't actually gonna do it, you guys, but now I can't let everybody down."
Oh my gosh, I did not know this. Okay, that's so
Yes, so I
cool.
was I was I would say people saw something in me a lot before I saw it in myself, and I was just so lucky to have the mentor of that entrepreneur professor and also my parents. I'm so fortunate. My mother always encouraged me to not be afraid to stand out of the crowd. I naturally wanted to wear the big red rose and I went to Catholic private school, but I was always trying to set myself apart from the crowd and oftentimes would get made fun of. But my mother gave me the thickest skin and always encouraged me, just to be who I was. And then I had a father also who was an entrepreneur, and he really encouraged me too when I got home. He said, "You've worked so hard. You have a degree. You can always fall back on that."
Yeah.
And he kind of taught me about how turning this passion I was hand drawing, hand making things and selling it, how to turn it more into a business, and taught me how to start manufacturing. And so it really grew from there.
So, what was the next step when you decided, okay, I better go all in on this? And you started, you got your LLC and you started the business. How did you then let Ariat know that was your plan of, okay, I'm going to break away. I'm going to do my own thing over here? Like, tell me about kind of that early first couple of steps to start the online.
It was that, yes, I just decided I wanted to take that path, and I'm so
Yeah.
grateful because the area supported me wholeheartedly, and Beth Cross is still one of my big
Oh,
mentors,
wow.
and there's anytime I know I can go to them with advice, and so they're just a very supportive group of women, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity with them because I probably wouldn't have had the courage to to jump or even seen that it was a reality. But I think also seeing what they built and what it turned into has motivated me to build something as well on my own.
I mean, really, I bet for anyone who doesn't know, I mean, there's plenty of people here who listen that are Western, or we've kind of thrown everyone into the Western world because of my background, Sarah's background. But for those of you who don't know, Beth Cross is the founder of Ariat, and she has an incredible story. She spoke at Western Summit. I think you were probably there several years ago in Denver. And I mean, that is just a massive company. So to have her as a mentor and a supporter along your journey is huge.
Right.
Yeah. So as you started to grow, your inventory went through lots of iterations, right? Starting your online,
Yes.
like I said, the tack was one of the first things I remember.
Yes.
And your signature, the red rose with your mom became such a huge signature of everything that you started to build. Tell me about learning, kind of the good and bad lessons of inventory management when you did first launch that line.
Yeah, I would say inventory is still one of our biggest things that we struggle with. But honestly, Ashley, why I've been so blessed with Rodeo Quincy, I'm kind of like a Taylor Swift song. And what I'm going through in life, you can tell with like what I'm designing and what I'm creating. So I
Yeah.
started, heavy in the tack. And then I graduated college and quit rodeoing myself. And then I got more submerged into the apparel. And it's turned into more, of a fashion brand since then. But managing the inventory, yeah, has been one of our biggest hurdles, and I'm by no means an expert, but I've learned to seek higher knowledge, and go to people that can help me with that, so
Yeah. So your line today kind of give everyone a hint of like all the different pieces that when you come to your booth in Las Vegas or you come to the website, what are all the different types of things you'll see?
So we have amazing women's Western fashion, pieces. We actually brought some tack back, which is fun. We have some boots, and I'm actually really excited because in recent years we've been collaborating with other companies, and we have a licensing degree we have a licensing agreement with the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association. And so we actually offer official PRCA merchandise of NFR. And so you get a little bit of everything, and in that, we actually offer men's apparel for the first time, so that's been really fun the last few years being able to create for not only women, but men as well. And one of
Yeah.
my goals with Rodeo Quincy too, Ash, has always been to bridge that gap too between Western and mainstream, and so we're constantly working on that because Western, I mean, goes back to the roots of America, from the very beginnings, and I think it's
Mhm.
timeless, really, and so there's no reason we can't bring Western into mainstream also.
Well, I think that's something that's been unique about your eye and how you design, um, is there's Western traditional, right? When some people think of Western, they probably think of, like, very traditional denim, long sleeve shirt, cowboy hat, but, um, when I think Western influencers kind of first took off, and I'll credit, like, Tiffany Cooper and, some different people who really started to document that process, like, y to me, you were one of the first people when it came to being on Instagram and being kind of an influencer in Western, and it's because you did that. It's because you took, kind of edgy, mainstream sorts of things, but then made them feel Western and made them very cool in the crossover. So, how do you encourage people, to be bold in their sense of style like that? To take things, like you said, going to Catholic school and people might even, tease you for what you're wearing. How do you encourage people to step into their own style and create a brand that people recognize because of that style?
I just encourage people to start, and to be themselves because that's what I've always done. Rodeo Quincy's always just been a reflection of me and my own personal style, and I encourage them to start that and also to build community, and in bringing other people in, like, beautiful things come from that, and I've
Mhm.
always led with heart, and, beautiful things have happened from that, so
Yeah. Are you ready to kick off the new year right? I hope you will join me. It is my favorite time of the year. Cue new planners, gel pens, trying not to write like a 12-year-old boy. That's what we do during the Best Year Yet challenge. But better yet, we help you plan out your year from scratch. And we go far beyond just goal setting and the regular things that you put on the board that you say you're going to do, but maybe don't do every single January. Instead, January 6th through the 8th for the Best Year Yet challenge, we're going to spend 3 days together. You and I, Sarah Burks, Jeff Fenn, our team here at the Hub, helping you map out real strategy for the new year, talking about what's actually trending and working right now across our industry. Everything from mapping out content, mapping out inventory strategy, sales strategies, growing your team, or just making sure you have the systems and processes in place for you to be the CEO of your business this year and not just the hustling entrepreneur. Let's face it, I just want to make sure you have more profit and peace, not only throughout the holiday season, but all the way throughout 2026. So come join me during the Best Year Yet challenge. It's completely free. Members, non-members, doesn't matter. If you're listening to this and you just want to start your year off a lot stronger, come and join me for the Best Year Yet challenge. All of the links are across our social media in our show notes. Be there or be square. Let's start this new year off right. So you mentioned the NFR and setting up at the NFR. For those of you who are listening and don't know what the NFR is, do you want to explain what it is first, and then let's talk about what it means to set up there?
yes. So, NFR is National Finals Rodeo, and what it is it's the Super Bowl of rodeo. It's where the top 15 contestants in all of the different rodeo events, they end the year, and that's where they go to compete for their world titles. It's 10 days long, 10 days of fun, some of the best rodeo contestants that you'll see, and there's also the most amazing shopping during those 10 days that you can experience.
I've heard over the years that the NFR has always been one of the biggest events of the year that Las Vegas hosts. And many people listening have been to, the convention center, been there during magic or different shows. And so you can understand the scope of maybe one or two of those buildings being full. But during the NFR, like you said, the trade show, it's the convention center and it's South Point. And I mean, how many different locations are there now of different types of Cowboy Christmas setups? So many.
There's yeah, South Point, there's the Rio, Hotel, there's the Horseshoe, the main Las Vegas Convention Center, and I'm probably missing a few, so there's at least
Yeah,
5. I would really encourage everyone to start at Cowboy Christmas, though it
I
really
love
is the mecca. It's 2 stories. I encourage you to get there when it opens because by 12 o'clock, it is just literally just
yeah.
herds and herds of people.
It is an insane trade show retail trade show experience, right? To buy Western fashion, tack, all of the different things. So you've set up there for how many years, did you say?
So I started probably about 12 years ago, and
Wow.
how I started, it's not as simple as just applying to get a booth, especially at Cowboy Christmas. I think there's a waiting list for years that some people it takes to get on. But I actually started back when I was in college, and I started just begging people to put my stuff in their booths, and then I would manage it, and I would run around from convention center to convention center and restock and restock, and that's
Wow.
what helped me build Rodeo Quincy in the beginning. Then fortunate enough, I was able to, make friends with a wonderful family, and they no longer needed their booth, and so that's when I started having my own booth there, and it's probably been about 9 years, and it started as a 10 by 20 and has grown to a 30 by 50, and then this year we're actually doubling in size. So any of our regulars that are used to going to our booth, we're actually a new location. So I'd appreciate it if everyone hangs on tight and continues to walk all the way more towards the back of the building and find our new booth location.
Well,
So,
that's gonna be massive. I can't wait to see it.
yeah.
You have some boutique hub regulars that are gonna be in the booth this
I
year.
do. I feel very fortunate because I have, put together an army of the best, and 2 of them are part of your army, Ashley. So Sarah Burke and, Jane Casper are actually gonna come. So I'm sure they'll bring in a lot of foot traffic for me too when
I
we make
encourage
that
anyone
announcement.
Yeah. I encourage anyone if you come into Quincy's booth during the NFR, like, bring a cockroach or a snake or something and, like, put it in Jane's pocket or her purse. Like, everyone needs to prank Jane Casper if you see her in the booth. Don't leave any cockroaches on the floor because that might backfire on you, Quincy, but we need to get Jane Casper.
Yeah, and for anybody that shops and finds a cockroach in their shopping bag, Jane put it there.
That's exactly right. Sarah Burks, you don't have to prank her in the same way, but Jane Casper for sure. So that's going to be a massive setup. I want to talk through the logistics because no matter if you're Western or not and you're listening, if you set up at any kind of pop-up event or, big retail experience, it's a massive undertaking. And to
Yes.
me, this is one of the biggest in the world. So why not learn from the biggest and the best? So right now, as we're recording this, and we're going to air this before the NFR, but as we're recording this, I know you're planning out all the logistics of just getting merchandise to Las Vegas. What does that look like and how long does it take?
Yes, so this year we're actually taking 3 semi trucks, and what one of the most challenging things is we actually leave right during the rush of Black Friday, um,
Mhm.
with it being Thanksgiving and all, but I have an amazing team, and we separate out all the inventories. Another challenging thing is we do live show selling. We're gonna be doing it down there because we don't wanna miss that opportunity. A lot of our amazing members, VIP ladies shop with us exclusively on the live shows, so we don't want to shut that off. So I actually have, and this is the first time I've ever done this after 12 years, mind you. I have a full time inventory manager on site, and they're
Oh,
actually the
awesome.
only one that is going to be allowed to double check inventories. We use Shopify, which is amazing. We're able to set up different locations, and we're actually going to have a semi truck that is its own separate location. But I think one of the biggest things I've learned with managing inventory is trying to have one hand in it, and
Mhm.
so that's what we're trying this year, so
I love that. That'll be super slick to have one person's eyes on it at all time. How do you also I mean, managing inventory is one big piece of being there, but managing team as well. How do you plan staffing for an event that large?
yeah, so we've been working at it for the last few months, and we're just trying to find, really hard workers, great salesmen. I'm lucky now I've gotten to the point I used to work all of my booths every single day, and I have my husband in the NFR competing. I have kids, and so this year I'm so fortunate because I actually have leads in every booth. Most of the leads have worked for me before, and they've earn the position they're at, and so I know that I don't necessarily have to be there, but we do have leads in every booth that help manage the team and encourage, and I like to reward them also. We'll set goals, and if we hit certain goals, then we'll get a something, a perk from that, hitting that goal, so.
Yeah. Well, we've got to talk about your family in just a second, but I have one more logistics question before we do. Something that I think you are probably one of the very best at in the building. I would put you and Aisha from Boot Barn in the same category on this, but your merchandising is always beautiful. There's always like beautiful signage and the layout's great. And when you walk by your booth, it like you literally stop in your tracks and you're like, what is that? Like you're so attracted, you have to walk in. How do you plan the merchandising, and what tips would you have for other people listening who, are again planning their own booth setup experience? How do you have great merchandising in that type of setup?
I really think our product does most of the work for us because it's so unique. It really draws a lot of the customers in. Now, some of my retail design friends wouldn't agree, but I think mannequins help a lot. We love to style our mannequins because that's one of the things
Yeah.
we're good at. We're good at putting pieces together, and a lot of the people shopping we found want help with that. So being able to show them, we also make sure all of our employees, are dressed and showing how they style their own rodeo cue pieces, and just have smiles on their faces, and, I think that really attracts the customers.
Yeah, I agree with that. What about signage? Any advice on signage and lighting in those experiences too?
Yes, we love to, have lighting focused on a lot of the products, and our signage, we put Rodeo Quincy on everything. The red rose is such a signature Rodeo Quincy piece, so we try and put that on everything, and we definitely look at the year before. We go around and we get a lot of inspiration, from other booths, but we also want to set our booth apart from other booths, so that's what we work on. So as soon as we get home, we start thinking about our booth for the next year and what the aesthetic and feel of that's gonna be.
I love that. So you were mentioning before we started to record, and I've also got to watch your business through Mastermind this year in some different avenues, but your business has become quite diverse. So I think, were you telling me you have four, you look at them as like four distinct business models? Do you want to share with everyone kind of what that looks like, your different avenues of selling, and then specific to Las Vegas, you have a whole nother business model there as well?
Right. Yeah, so as my dad, the old cowboy would say, it's always important to have a lot of irons in the fire, right? Not
Hmm.
just one. And Rodeo Quincy has turned into, a few separate businesses. We sell to retail. We have our online sales channel. We have our wholesale Rodeo Quincy brand, but we've also brought on the live show selling, which has really been a big turning point for us and really helped us connect and build that community and really helped us grow in the best way the last few years is the live show selling because of connecting to our customers. Our Rodeo Quincy pieces, they're more than just a piece of clothing. Each piece has a soul, really. We tell stories through those clothing pieces. Um, it could be a personal family thing or whatnot. And our customers just really know that it's more than just a piece of clothing when they purchase from us. So there's that, and then moving on to NFR is our one retail trade show we do, a year, and that's turned into a separate business as well because it's in person, requires different employees and whatnot, but it's so special for our brand too because of that in-person connection that we're making at NFR, and it honestly, we could plan for NFR art all year round. That's how big it is for us, so we have 4 booths down there, and I'll have 21 employees. And so, yeah.
And new this, well, is it new this year? This is the first year you're doing.
Yes, I'm so excited to announce not only the 4 booths down in Vegas, but we're actually having a fashion show over at the Fontainebleau Hotel in their theater.
Okay, you've gotta give us all the details of the fashion show because that's massive.
Yes, we're so excited. It's a beautiful luncheon, signature cocktail, and we're going to be showing all the latest Western fashions. Not only that, we're going to be showing NFR athlete contestants and their families. And I have actually collaborated with the Junk Gypsy sisters, Amy and Jolie Sykes, out of Texas, who are mostly known for their show on, was it on Bravo, Ashley? Yeah. I think.
It was on CMT for a while too.
Okay.
Honestly, I just had Allie Falcon. I just recorded with her the other day, and she was just set up with them. So we've been talking junk gypsies on the podcast for a
Okay.
while.
I
Love it.
just figure everybody knows who they are
Yes.
because I grew up so inspired by them
Yeah.
and the company that they've built, being creative as well,
Yeah.
um, creative types like myself. So we partnered and we're actually launching a line together, and it's gonna strut down the runway.
What? I didn't realize this. This is news. Okay.
Yes,
Awesome.
it's actually called Here's to Her, and so
Cool.
we're honoring women, women that have blazed the trail and mothers and whatnot, and I'm very excited, and I think maybe we're gonna be featuring, you, Ashley, right?
I mean, yes, this is about you, not me,
Can I
but I
make that
will
an
happily
can
be
I
there.
make that announcement here? I just asked Ashley if she would walk in our fashion show because I couldn't think of a better person who is
Oh,
inspiring and encouraged others to live
thank you.
their dreams, and so, yeah, we would be
Oh.
honored to have you there.
I'm honored that you asked. That seriously, like, I am not worthy to be on that stage, but thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'm excited to be there as well. And speaking of that fashion show, you mentioned NFR athletes and their families. We've talked all of these things about your brand and about NFR, but like you have a rodeo royalty family. Talk about Dakota first and his, I mean, many years being in Las Vegas, but also your greater family. Like this is a family business for all of you.
Right, yes, my husband, he's just been so amazing. He's been with me along my whole journey with Rodeo Quincy. We got together when we were, early years in college, and I remember telling him, "I don't know what I'm gonna do when I graduate," and he would be like, "What? What? We all know what you're gonna do. You're gonna start your business. You're gonna follow your dreams." So my husband's always been big on that, following your dream, following your passion, and that's exactly what my husband's done. And his dream and his passion has been the sport of rodeo, and I'm just so proud of him. He's made the national finals rodeo, which is the top 15 cowboys in the world for the last 12 years.
It's incredible.
Yes. And so I'm excited to cheer him on there, and he's just a big encourager, and, I get a lot of strength from him. So we're not only fortunate enough to have my husband competing there, but my nephew, Lefty Holman, will be competing there. So my husband, he does the steer wrestling, which is they call it the big man's event, and then my nephew, Lefty, will be there competing in the saddle bronc riding. And then my nephew-in-law, who's married to Lily, who she's one of the faces of my brand as well. I've been so fortunate to have her, and she's helped build the brand. She's my
Yeah.
main live show selling, face of Rodeo Quincy. So her husband is Dawson Hay, and he's there competing also in the bronc riding. So when you talk about mentors and people that have encouraged along the way is my family has definitely helped me get to where I am, and I'm so grateful for them all.
It's fun to watch all of you because you are such a close-knit group. You are so supportive, and you're all like I've gotten to meet everyone in your family. I think everyone is just as genuine as they come. So, there's no one else I would rather see win than a family like yours, so I think it's so cool to continue, continuing this legacy again this year. I do have a question, though. You guys all match. You all look dang good in all of these photos I see you in. How do you all plan your outfits for the NFR?
Oh, we have so much fun. Well, we all wear a lot of Rodeo Quincy, and then now Lefty actually started his own brand called Buckham, and so
Oh,
we
I
have
didn't know that. Okay.
yeah, he did start his own brand, so we have fun piecing it all together. We talk about it at family events, what we're gonna wear and how we're gonna style things, and it goes back for generations in our family, really. And it's funny because even the men, like Lefty and my brother, actually have really impeccable style, and I ask their
Yes.
advice all the time. So it's not for everybody, I will say, but we don't really care. That's one thing that my mother and my grandmother instilled in us,
Yeah.
is that, you know
You just gotta go for it. I also
Mhm.
think, like, if I could look like Shane as I continue to age, like, God would grant me such a great blessing. I always look at her and I'm amazed. So, yes, all
She's
of the
in
style.
she's incredible in every aspect,
Yeah.
and we all joke about that in our family. We've literally never found anything that she's not good at or doesn't excel at. Literally, business, what she's done, and anything from riding a horse in any type of competitive event or snowboarding. She's, like, doing flips on a snowboard or just anything she does, she does well at.
Well, because you're also competitive, how do you think, like, your background in rodeo and ranching, how do you think that leads to how you all operate in business as adults? Like, are they tied? Is one lesson that fully flows into the other?
For sure. It's the grit, it's the falling off that horse and getting right back up on. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I've learned in entrepreneurship and business. You're not always gonna win, but that's what's actually going to make you succeed in the end is how you handle defeat and how you come back and how
Yeah.
you move forward, what lessons you learned.
And you're gonna continue to pass that on generation to generation. You and Dakota have been growing your family. It's been a busy year this year. How have becoming a mom in this whole journey and raising multiple kiddos, how has that impacted how you operate the business on a daily basis and how you look at the future of your business as well?
Yeah, so that definitely has been one of my biggest challenges is building a business while also growing my family. But I just have to really count my blessings because it is a blessing, and what I'm building for them is
Yep.
hopefully something beautiful that they can be proud of, and it's really what it lights that fire for me, Ashley, to keep going for them. One thing I've learned from you, I think you said it one time on one of your podcasts, is you're talking about balance, and I think about that a lot. I struggle with that a lot, being a mother and a business owner, but, it's pretty impossible to be balanced, but what these kids need, it's not really perfection, it's love, and, I'm not necessarily that Pinterest mom,
Me
but
neither.
I'm there. I don't have the cookie cutter, amazing homemade pie for their school bake sale,
Yeah.
but I show up and get them, and I'm there for them, and I love them, and that's what you have to remember most as a mother, I think, in business and trying to balance it all.
I just think the idea of balance is kind of BS. Like, I think it's fake.
It is.
Like, nothing is ever perfect, and it's not 50-50. It's kind of like, what is the season of life I'm in right now? And I had someone else I was interviewing on a separate podcast today, and she was talking about raising her kids in her business, and she said, "I think my kids just learn so much by watching me persevere in the good times and the bad." They were just along for all the messy middle that I went through, and I think that's so true, and I think about your kiddos. I mean, are they coming to the NFR with you? I'm assuming yes, they always
Yes, they
do.
are. Yes, they are. And
Yeah.
speaking of balance, people ask me how I balance it all. 4 booths, 21 employees, a fashion
Yeah.
show, my husband in the rodeo every single night. We're down there for 16 days. I simply don't. I have an incredible team. I'm so lucky
Yeah.
behind me, helping me. I have leaders in each one of those booths. And I actually have a nanny I bring with me also that helps with my kids because it's literally impossible to do it all on your own.
How do you stay healthy? How do you and Dakota both stay healthy through that experience? Las Vegas is tough. I mean, to stay healthy even as a random, like, just a visitor like I will be, but when you're in it, how do you take care of yourself?
Luckily, my husband, he's really wonderful. He always focuses on health, and he's the one that reminds me like, "Hey, you need to eat, you need to take care of yourself." And that's one thing that I tend to forget to times that you have to take care of yourself first, right? Because if you're
Yeah.
not healthy, you can't run your business, you can't be there for your kids and your family. So that is actually one thing this year and going into next year really need to focus on is health.
You're gonna need it. You're gonna need all the energy you can get because what a
Right.
huge opportunity that you have. It's incredible.
Yes.
Quincy, I have some lightning round questions for you. Are you ready for
Okay.
that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right. Let's get to it. If I give you 2 hours back in your day to work on an income generating activity, what would you focus on first?
Inventory and where we're at.
Yes. There's money.
Yes.
3 semi loads of inventory, like, there's some money hiding in that inventory, right? If some of it, um, doesn't get the opportunity that it deserves. So, absolutely. What do you think is the unsexiest process with the biggest impact in your business?
Well, being the creative that I am is studying the numbers and looking at your profit and your loss, for sure.
Yes. How about what's been the best business advice that you've received that always sticks with you?
My dad always says it's easy to make money, but it's hard to keep money. And so again, going back to counting your pennies, looking at that profit and loss, it's not necessarily where you're at in sales. It's where you're at in net profit.
Oh, it's so true. It's absolutely critical. What about what's been the hardest business lesson you've had to learn?
Oh gosh, there's so many. I think one of the hardest things with business and running your own business is that it never stops. Um, there's other careers where you clock in and you clock out, but when you're an entrepreneur, like, it never stops, and so you have to, shave that time out for your family, um, and so by doing that has helped my life in many ways, being able to shave that time out and turn that phone off, for that complete day and give that attention to your family.
Would you say it's like setting a boundary?
Yeah.
Like, you just need a boundary to know, when am I on as a wife? When am I on as a mother? When am I on in terms of
Yes.
business?
That's it exactly. Mhm.
Yeah. What do you feel like is the best advice you could give in terms of growing a team? You have a wonderful team that's been with you a long time. What advice do you have?
Lead with your heart and treat others how you wanna be treated.
Mhm. Yeah, spot on. Well, Quincy, this has been awesome. I have one last question for you before we jump off today. Fast forward 30 years, what you've already built is incredible. Like it's very, very remarkable. But fast forward 30 years, and you're on the ranch, you're on the front porch, you and Dakota and the kids, and now grandkids. And you're looking back at this life you lived and the crazy wild journey that you both have been on together and the businesses you've built. What's the thing that you really want them to remember most about you and how you lived?
I want them to remember how fearless that I was. I want them to hopefully look at me as an inspiration, to follow their own dreams and their own passions, and I want to be an example of faith, most importantly. And I would like to leave listeners with something,
Let's
that
hear
my
it.
mom left me with, and it's actually something that I go to a lot, and so I would like to read it. It's a quote from Mother Teresa, and it is, "People are often unreasonable and self-centered. Forgive them anyways. If you are kind, people may accuse you of ulterior motives. Be kind anyways. If you are honest, people may cheat you. Be honest anyways. If you find happiness, people may be jealous. Be happy anyway. The good you do today may be forgotten tomorrow. Do good. Give the world the best you have, and it may never be enough, but give your best anyways. For you see, in the end, it was between you and God. It was never between you and them, anyways."
Oh, I love that. That's
Yeah.
one of my favorites. Eric has that on a card that he keeps close as well. Your mom was an incredible woman, and I know had such an amazing impact on you and your business. So, what a treasure to have that and to be reminded of that from Mother Teresa and from your mom as well.
Yes.
Man, Quincy, this is awesome. I'm so proud of you. For those of you listening and you're headed to the NFR, please stop by Quincy's booth. Go to the fashion show. Cheer on Dakota and Lefty and the entire family. And thank you so much, Quincy, for being a part of the hub and being a part of our mastermind group and for being on the podcast today. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thank you, Ashley. Thank you for having me.